So when I meal plan, what I do is I literally flip through as if I am sitting at a restaurant looking at a menu and I'm picking out the things that sound good. Choosing what to eat every week gets exhausting for me, but this is a way to make it a little bit more engaging, a little bit more fun, and to feel a little bit more indulgent rather than feeling like a chore. Today I want to talk about meal planning and something I've been doing for my meals. I made menus to direct my meal planning. Most of them were created using Canva templates, literally restaurant menu templates, where I just plugged in recipes from my repertoire and from my partner's repertoire. Things that we can make, and also a few aspirational things which we haven't yet learned how to make, but I want to be able to eat at home. So I'd like to go through all of the themed menus that I have created so far so you can sort of see a general overview of what these look like. Now the first thing I have is my home cafe menu, starting with drinks that I can make at home. Next we have a bakery menu. I have written in additional ideas which I will add to the template later when I get a chance to edit them and print them out again. So we have a variety of sweet breakfast options, a variety of other drinks. Here we have our savory breakfast options, as well as some particular breads that we sometimes make at home or that we might buy at our local bakery. Of course, I need a soup, sandwich, and salad menu for my cafe fare, and these are the typical soups, sandwiches, and salads that I enjoy eating. I did not put anything on here that I do not like. That's sort of the point. This is a very curated menu that's just for my taste. All of these menus are themed around specific styles of food, cuisines, or certain restaurants which are kind of typical or which I have a positive associations with, right? Like this menu is supposed to evoke the feeling of going to the beach in Florida and eating seafood. Next I have a Mediterranean themed menu. Next is my Tex-Mex and taco menu. A lot of classic favorites here, as well as sides and drinks. This is supposed to give sort of the whole experience, right? That I can think about pairing sides and drinks and having a variety of food, and it feels a lot more indulgent. Next, I have a typical American diner food menu. And again, there's opportunities to mix and match with different sides, different salads, different dinners, and dinner plates. This one-page menu of some things that we both like: Chinese takeout foods, hot pot, etc. Next is a small Indian menu. This is an area for improvement where we'd really like to learn how to make a lot more Indian foods. And even many of these are not things, especially like the samosas, these aren't things we've made at home ourselves, but there are some options like freezer samosas and things that we can pop in the oven. So again, just gives a well-rounded idea of how we can sort of mix and match. Next is a Korean inspired menu. A lot of these are not particularly traditional. I've obviously done a lot of food substitutions. And again, we've got drinks, we've got our sides, we've got some fusion dishes which are essentially I just make with like a gochujang sauce. This is the Korean kind of dinner menu, and then this is the Korean barbecue menu, if you notice the difference here. Next, we have a simple and straightforward Japanese menu. Again, we don't have many dishes on here, but there are some things that we do very often. A little Southeast Asia menu featuring some Thai and Vietnamese food. Now we get into the French menu. For a while, I was really getting into aperitif and digestif culture. And again, many of these are this just feels indulgent. There are a lot of choices here. I'm not doing this all the time. I don't even have all of these things in stock, but this just reminds me, oh, this is a way that I could enjoy the experience just a little bit more. Here's some more French food, or foods that I associate with French cuisine, regardless of whether or not it's, again, strictly traditional. There's a separate menu for the raclette grill. I do love raclette. I was introduced to raclette when I was in France. I've never once been skiing in my life, but I love this kind of food, like hot pot and like Korean barbecue, where you can sit around the table and cook at the table itself and just chat and hang out, and it's just a really relaxing way to do dinner. Again, which feels very indulgent. Next I have Italian food. Right, some starters, some entrees, some pizza varieties, which I like, pasta options, desserts. Pretty straightforward. Then the next two are ones which are more aspirational. Some of these are things that we haven't made, but I actually got an Italian cookbook and then I went through and I pulled out all the recipes that looked good, and then I put those in this menu, which is why they all say recipes to try. This is another combination menu of aspirational things we haven't made yet and some things that we do make fairly often. In addition to those, I have some others as well. Just because it's really good for me to theme these things together, it just is so much easier for me to take in this information when it's categorized in these ways. So I wanted an option for kind of protein bowls, the kind of a bowl with rice or a bowl with grain, bowl with protein and grain, as well as a second page. I have one devoted entirely to soup, separate from the cafe fare, because some of these, homemade ramen, hot pot, it doesn't really feel like cafe fare. So I put all of the soups together: chilies, vegetarian soups, noodle and rice-based soups, sort of main course soups, and a little section at the bottom for build your own. What kind of base do you want? Aromatics? What kind of ingredients do you want to mix and match? Etc. A salad menu, because again, I needed something more robust than just the cafe menu. And now we get into the seasonal menus. So these are things that I might want to focus on in particular seasons, the things I tend to get cravings for. In the winter, I'm looking for starchy vegetables, I'm looking for warm foods, etc. So a lot of these in the winter menu are the kind of signature entrees that are often associated with the holidays, as well as winter desserts, and an entire separate drink menu, including some of my favorite seasonal drinks. My spring menu is going to focus more on fresh vegetables, raw foods, as well as other things that I just associate with the lightness of spring. My summer menu is much more focused on fruit, on grilled food, on cold food, on all the things I like to eat in the summertime. And finally, my autumn menu is going to have a lot more of these comforting fall favorites. Things that are savory with warming spices, things that are sweet with flavors of maple, pumpkin, apple, cinnamon. And also some things which I just associate with kind of a back to school season, right? Like the idea of a brown bag lunch. So these are all of my menus. I'm going to consolidate them and put them together in one place. I'm going to organize it a little bit more. I'm going to reprint some of these. I'm going to edit the templates and add the things that I missed the first time. So when I meal plan, what I do is I literally flip through as if I am sitting at a restaurant looking at a menu, and I'm picking out the things that sound good. Sometimes I'm doing things more practically, right? Like I might think, oh, we've got some chicken in the freezer we need to use up. What are some chicken dishes in here that sound good? I might have an idea of a flavor profile, like, oh, I could really go for some Tex-Mex food. Let's look at the Tex-Mex category and see what I'm feeling this week. Or I could think I want something warm, like a soup. What are my soup options? And genuinely, all I'm doing every week is I go through and I pick out the things that sound good. I try to figure out if I can fit them in to my meal plan for this week. And if I can't, then I'll put it on my cravings list to remind myself that it's something I can do in a future week, that I might work towards a more ambitious food project. Some of these aspirational menus help remind me that there are things I also want to learn how to make, because I want to be able to eat them at home instead of relying on a restaurant. I have personalized this very much. This is not supposed to be a lot of traditional food. This is not supposed to be representative of what people are eating in France, or eating in the Mediterranean, or eating in China, or eating in Korea. This is just what I like out of these things and how I can pull meals together that I will enjoy. I should also point out that the primary chef in my household is my partner. And so if you're really going, wow, how do you know how to make all of these fantastic foods? So like anything that looks like an assembly meal is something that I can do. Anything that looks really involved is probably something that he's making. Although it did take a good amount of work to pull together all of my recipes and to write down all the things I like and to remember all the things that I know how to do, and it did take repeated iterations of sitting down and working on these things. I obviously didn't knock this all out at once, but I made the process a lot simpler for myself by using Canva templates, just free restaurant menu templates on Canva, filling in and just modifying them. There's a lot of little parts that I added just for flavor because I thought it was funny, because I don't have my own restaurant to advertise, so I wasn't exactly going to write down an address or a phone number. It also brought me some joy to just make it just personal and silly. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments. And if there's anything you'd like a closer look at, please let me know. Pretty soon I'll be organizing this information a little bit more, and I'll put it back into a disc-bound system, and I'll show it off a little bit more where I'm actually flipping through it like it is a menu. So stay tuned for that. And have a good one, everybody.